There's a place in Vermont where people go missing and are never seen again. A place where compasses spin wildly and stop working, where highly trained search dogs refuse to move forward, whining and pulling back on their leashes. A place where time itself seems to fold in on itself, where the known laws of physics feel optional. Locals call it the Bennington Triangle, a patch of forest where the wilderness doesn't just swallow people, it keeps them. The soft wind swells for a moment, and a bird's call cuts sharply to silence. The Bennington Triangle isn't a place you'll find on any official map. It's an area of mystery centered around the brooding Glastonbury Mountain in southwestern Vermont, an isolated stretch of dense, ancient forest and overgrown logging trails. For centuries, this land has been cloaked in superstition and fear. Early Native American tribes, who knew this land intimately, avoided it entirely. They spoke of it as a cursed place, a spot where the four winds meet and create a chaotic energy. They believed the mountain itself was wrong, unnatural. In the 1800s, ambitious logging towns sprung up, trying to tame the wilderness. But just as quickly as they appeared, they vanished. Buildings rotted and collapsed, roads were swallowed by the trees, and entire settlements were erased, as if they had never been. But the land wasn't finished. It wasn't until the mid-20th century that the true, chilling nature of the Bennington Triangle began to make national headlines, as one person after another stepped into the woods and was never seen again. The first of the strange disappearances to capture public attention was Mitty Rivers in 1945. Mitty was a 74-year-old local guide. He knew these woods like the back of his hand. T was leading a group of hunters, familiar with every trail and every landmark. T walked just a little ahead of the group, around a bend in the path, and simply vanished. The hunters called out. No answer. They searched, but there were no footprints, no broken twigs, no sign of a struggle. It was as if he had dissolved into the air. Search parties scoured the area for weeks, but they found nothing, not a single trace. Sound of crunching leaves, footsteps that seemed to fade into nothing, and a soft static crackle. Exactly 1 year later, in December 1946, the mountain's mystery deepened. Paula Weldon, an 18-year-old college student at Bennington College, decided to go for a solo hike on the famous Long Trail. She was dressed in a bright red jacket, easily visible against the winter landscape. Several people saw her that afternoon. A couple gave her directions. A group of hikers saw her walking ahead of them, and then she was gone. Her disappearance triggered one of the largest and most frantic search efforts in Vermont's history. Hundreds of volunteers, police, and even the National Guard combed the woods. Planes flew low overhead, scanning the forest canopy, but they found nothing. Paula Weldon, in her bright red coat, had vanished from the trail. A gust of wind, the faint sound of a distant helicopter, and a low, rhythmic heartbeat under the narration. 3 years later, the triangle's reach seemed to extend beyond the forest itself. In 1949, a veteran named James Tedford boarded a bus in St. Albans, heading home to Bennington. He was seen by multiple witnesses. They saw him sleeping in his seat as the bus rumbled along its route, nearing its final destination. But when the bus pulled into the Bennington station, he was gone. His luggage was still on the overhead rack. His wallet and bus ticket were still on the empty seat. The bus had not made any stops between the last sighting of him and its arrival. He had simply vanished into thin air from a moving vehicle. The hum of a bus engine, a sudden silence, and a soft, static buzz. The following year, 1950, brought 2 more baffling cases in quick succession. The first involved an 8-year-old boy named Paul Jepson. He was playing near a pigsty on his family's farm. right at the edge of the forest. His mother left him for less than an hour, and when she returned, he was gone. The search began immediately. Highly trained search dogs were brought in, and they quickly picked up Paul's scent. Elated, they followed it with confidence, leading the search party away from the farm and straight to the base of Glastonbury Mountain. They stopped, all of them. Handlers reported that the dogs became agitated, whined, and absolutely refused to go any further into the woods, as if they had run into an invisible wall of terror. Faint dog barks that fade away, replaced by the sound of a heavy, deep forest wind. Just 16 days later, the final victim of this strange period was a woman named Frida Langer. She and her cousin were hiking near the Somerset Reservoir when she slipped and fell into a stream. Soaked and cold, she told her cousin she would run back to their campsite a short distance away to change clothes, and would catch up with him shortly. She was a strong hiker and knew the area, but she never returned to the campsite. She never made it out of the woods. Another massive search ensued, but like the others, it turned up nothing. It wasn't until 7 months later that her body was finally discovered, in an open area that had been meticulously searched over and over again in the weeks following her disappearance. No cause of death could be determined. So what is happening in the Bennington Triangle? The theories are as wild as the woods themselves. Local legends and supernatural beliefs speak of Glastonbury Mountain as a thin place, where the veil between our world and another is weak. Some whisper that something ancient and malevolent lives in the forest, something that doesn't like to be disturbed. Then there are the UFO and portal theories. Over the years, there have been numerous reports of strange flashes of light in the sky, and an odd, low-frequency humming sound that seems to emanate from the mountain itself, often around the times of the disappearances. This has led many to speculate that the triangle is an abduction site for extraterrestrials, or perhaps a natural portal to another dimension. Of course, there are more rational explanations. The terrain is incredibly harsh and unforgiving. It's easy to get lost, have an accident, or fall victim to the elements or wild animals. Some have even suggested a clever serial predator was using the forest as their hunting ground. But these explanations don't quite fit. How could experienced woodsmen and hundreds of searchers find almost no trace? Why would a man disappear from a moving bus? And why, except for Frida Langer's mysterious case, were no bodies ever found? A low hum slowly builds in the background. To this day, the Bennington Triangle remains an enigma. Modern search parties and hikers still report that their compasses and GPS devices malfunction on the mountain. Radios go dead without explanation, and many who walk the trails report an unsettling feeling of being watched. The forest has grown silent now. The logging towns are gone, and the frantic searches have faded into history. But sometimes, when the wind blows through the trees just right, some say you can still hear faint voices carried on the breeze, a chilling reminder that not everyone who walks into the Bennington Triangle comes back. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more whispers of the unexplained. Stay curious and stay safe.